is the second upload of today, and it makes me so happy to say that because exactly 1 year ago today, December 2nd, 2021, we were in a lockout. It was the first day of the first strike since 1994, and I'm happy to report that we have a bunch of deals to talk about. Chris Martin, one of the best relievers in baseball, he has found a new team. We have a big trade, if you want to call it that. The Mariners have acquired Kolten Wong, and there's a possibility that the Brewers are not done. They might be trading Willie Adames, and then there's a few other things to talk about, including Aaron Judge has removed the phrase New York from his Instagram bio. Does it mean anything? Probably not, but we'll talk about it for 5 seconds. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start with the signing. So we'll talk about the Kolten Wong trade in just a moment. Chris Martin, we can see that he signed a 2-year deal worth essentially $18 million. Now, even though he's 36 years old and he had a 3.05 ERA in 2022, you might be thinking, why would the Red Sox do this? He's almost 37. He had a 3.05 ERA. He wasn't that good. Well, when he went to the Dodgers, so he was traded from the Cubs to the Dodgers, he had a 4.3 ERA and an 11 strikeouts per nine with the Cubs, so not the worst counting stats in the world, but, I mean, he was absolutely unhittable. A 1.46 ERA with the Dodgers. In 24 innings, he had 34 strikeouts. He had a 0.4 walks per nine, and he was striking out 12 and a half hitters per 9 innings, so you could make an argument that in the second half of 2022, he was a top 3. I'm going to give him that title, a top 3 reliever in baseball to end last season, up there with Edwin Diaz and Emmanuel Clase. Sure, you can throw in a few other names, but to me, when Chris Martin, of course, we're not talking about Chris Martin of Coldplay, Chris Martin, the 36-year-old MLB The Show legend, he was absolutely unhittable with the Dodgers, so he gets paid at the ripe age of 36 years old. I did not know that he was 6'8". My God, I would not want to face this guy, but since we talked about the Boston Red Sox, they gave $18 million to Chris Martin. Let's talk about a former Boston Red Sox player, Franchy Cordero. So Franchy Cordero is going to get $1.35 million if he makes the Baltimore Orioles Major League Club. If he doesn't, he's going to get about $500,000 to play in the minors. Now, if we take a look at his stats from last season, he's not very good, which is sad to say because he was the centerpiece of the Andrew Benintendi trade. Benintendi, Benny Biceps, he was a Boston fan favorite. He gets traded, has an All-Star 2022 campaign, and Franchy, I mean, aside from saying he's a StatCast darling because he has top 16% sprint speed. When he hits the ball, he absolutely deletes baseballs. He's in the top 1% for max exit velo, but he has a noodle arm. He has one of the worst instincts of any outfielder in baseball with a bottom 3% outs above average. So Franchy Cordero, he's going to be competing with this guy right here, I believe. So Edwin Diaz, he was DFA'd by the Marlins. Then the Pirates picked him up. The Pirates said, okay, we probably don't need you anymore. They actually released him, and now he is going to the Orioles. So expect Franchy Cordero and Mr. Edwin Diaz to be engaged in a full-blown mid-off going into 2023. They both have not been very good to begin their careers. Lewin, he's still 26 years old. He has time to improve. The Orioles are going to be better in 2023, so let me know. What do you think of these transactions? All right, let's go ahead and get the biggest story of the day out the way. Again, this is the second video of today, so if you missed the first one, go ahead and watch that after we're done recapping this trade. But the Mariners, they keep on making moves left and right, so they are getting Kolten Wong for Jesse Winker and Abraham Toro. I knew that Jesse Winker, his days as a Mariner, they were coming to an end. So before we talk about Winker and Toro, let's talk about what the Mariners are getting. So they are replacing this guy right here, Adam Frazier. He spent some time in the outfield. He was their second baseman the majority of the time. He had a 80 OPS plus and not even a 1 WAR, even though he had 541 at bats. So he was pretty much dead weight, and I'm sure that Seattle fans are throwing a party knowing that they pretty much never have to worry about Adam Frazier ever again. Kolten Wong, he's picked it up over the last few years. So we can see that in 2021, he had a 335 on base percentage and a 110 OPS plus. So those are pretty good numbers. But in 2022, he upped the power a little bit with 15 home runs. He had 17 stolen bases, a 340 on base percentage, and a near 120 OPS plus. He is a fantastic defender as well. The only problem is you're only getting 1 year of Kolten Wong, and I guess you could say the same for the Brewers and Jesse Winker, because if we take a look, he's a free agent in 2024. Kolten Wong, he's a free agent in 2024. So you're basically making a swap, one guy for one guy. It's going to be a 1-year rental, and then you can kind of decide what you want to do going forward. But Kolten Wong, by the time that 2024 rolls around, he'll be almost 33 years old. He is a fantastic defender. I don't understand the nickname Wonger or the Pebble. They call him the Pebble. I mean, I get Wonger, but the Pebble, I feel like that's a slight that he looks like The Rock. So Adam Frazier, his time in Seattle is done, and same for this guy right here, Jesse Winker. Even though he had a very respectable 344 on base percentage, the slugging absolutely fell off a cliff last year. So he went from 32 doubles and 24 home runs in 2021. He was an all-star, smashing baseballs with a 141 OPS plus. Again, that fell off a cliff. A 103 OPS plus. He had 15 doubles and 14 home runs in 136 games. So even though he played 26 more games, the production fell off. I'm not going to say that phrase again, but in 2022, look at this. So we're going to go back to his 2020 campaign. I mean, look at all of the red. Every time that he was making contact, again, baseballs were getting erased. In 2021, there was some regression, but he was getting on base. He wasn't striking out a lot. Again, the max exit velo and the hard hit percentage, the barrel percentage, it was all elite. And then in 2022, I'm not sure if it was because he went from Cincinnati to Seattle. The ball for sure does not fly as much in Seattle as it does in Cincinnati, and maybe that's why his average exit velocity really tanked. He still wasn't chasing. He was getting on base at a high clip, but the outfield absolutely atrocious. He might be the worst outfielder in baseball. So where is he going to go play for the Brewers? It's definitely not left field because that's Christian Yelich, unless they plan on moving Christian Yelich. I can't imagine that's going to happen. So he'll probably be the DH for the Brewers moving forward, unless, I mean, is Rowdy Tellez a DH? I can't remember if he's the first baseman or the DH. So Jesse Winker, I'm hoping that he bounces back because baseball is better when Jesse Winker is raking and feeling himself. And then the final piece of that trade, Abraham Toro. He is going to be eligible for arbitration after 2023, and I can't imagine that's going to cost the Brewers a whole lot, but he is a utility guy. He can play second base, third base. I think I've seen him play first base every so often, but I mean, he had a 63 OPS plus in 2022. He was a big name in that trade for Kendall Graveman. I can't remember the exact trade, but it was Kendall Graveman for Abraham Toro, and then maybe they signed Diego Castillo, but Abraham in 109 games had 13 doubles, 10 home runs, a 239 on base percentage after hitting 185. So you can make an argument that for a full-time player, someone that had 300 plus ABs, guys like Miles Straw, Austin Hedges. I mean, Abraham Toro was in that conversation as one of the worst players in baseball a season ago. So that is the full trade. We have Kolten Wong, probably the best player of the trade right now, considering Jesse Winker is just, he seems like he's not the same guy. So Kolten Wong, kind of mid. Jesse Winker, mid. Abraham Toro, bad. I mean, with a medium ceiling, if you want to call it that. So I would grade this trade as a C. Kind of both teams win. They both get things that they were lacking from a season ago, but then again, no one is really a superstar unless Jesse Winker finds a hitting coach and they correct all of his issues from a season ago. I just, this is kind of a trade. That's all I have to say. It's a trade. And the last but not least, I do want to talk about this just to stir the pot. So this was Aaron Judge a few weeks ago. Do you see how it says New York right here, Christian, and then New York? It doesn't say that anymore. So I don't know if Aaron Judge is kind of soft launching the fact that there's a multiverse where he is not on the New York Yankees. I don't really think that's going to happen because the Giants, even though they have a ton of money, I just feel like Aaron Judge being a captain and winning a World Series and winning more MVPs and building up his MVP case in Yankee Stadium, that probably means more than being the face of a franchise where he grew up. Then again, he'd be the face of the franchise for his favorite team growing up. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of all of this stuff that we talked about today. Make sure you guys subscribe. We talk baseball every single day. Thanks for watching. Peace out.